Whether on TV or online, this is iPower 1. Go to TuneIn.com, keyword iPower 1FM. Listen online or download the app for free via Android and listen 24/7.
From the Hard Planet Media Studios in New York, this is iPower 2 This Moment.
Saw stars wearing black on the red carpet in support of the fight against sexual harassment, but during Sunday's Grammys, attendees elected to wear white roses. Dozens of artists, from Pink to Sam Smith, put white roses on their elaborate dresses and tuxedos in support of the Time's Up movement.
But the show's political commentary went even further, with Hillary Clinton making an appearance in a comedy sketch about the Trump expose Fire and Fury. Artists also used the show's global platform to speak out on race and immigration issues. Entertainment Tonight co-host Kevin Frazier has more on the night's biggest moments.
What's
Kevin,
up?
you're here with us.
Always good to be here with you. Well, neither did you.
I know.
Come on, let's be honest.
And both of you guys looking fantastic. No worse for wear
I
at all.
can never compete with this guy, but I try.
So it was definitely sort of a powerhouse show, and politics, I think, sort of was front and center. Kesha's performance.
Yes.
I mean, it almost sort of brought tears to my eyes. This has been quite a journey for her. To see her on stage belting out those words, surrounded by all of those women. Just talk about how significant that performance was.
It was the moment, in my opinion, of the night. Inside that arena, it felt like she sucked the air out of the place, and you struggled along with her through every single word.
Yeah.
The tears and the emotion of her performance. But I will tell you this, afterwards, she walked backstage, and you could see she was hugging all the women when the lights went down. But when she went backstage, she let out a scream that it didn't make the broadcast, but it was so loud that it did catch. You could see Camila Cabello, who was out there speaking about the Dreamers. You could see it made her kind of like, whoa, what was that? It was Kesha screaming at the top of her lungs, and it was like an exhale moment. I think that this moment changed forever how America looks at Kesha, how the world looks at Kesha as a performer, not the crazy girl from TikTok or all the allegations and all the things that she was dealing with.
Can you remind people what her story is? Because people might not remember.
Sure. Kesha was an artist who, fun was the name of her game. And she had a TV show showing some of her wild antics. And, her first big hit, TikTok, was just a party anthem.
Right.
So now I think that everyone looks at her as someone who has grown into a woman who has texture and maturity. And so that was an important moment for her. And those other women there around her, surrounding her. Cyndi Lauper told us on the red carpet, she just didn't want to cry, but it was one of the most powerful moments of her career.
Wow.
It was a powerful moment indeed. Another moment that has a lot of people talking this morning, and also in the minutes after it aired, again, not shying away from politics, it was Hillary Clinton, her cameo appearance in a pre-taped segment reading from the controversial tell-all book, Fire and Fury. Let's play a little bit of that.
Stand by, take one.
He had a long-time fear of being poisoned. One reason why he liked to eat at McDonald's. Nobody knew he was coming, and the food was safely pre-made.
That's it, we've got it. That's the one.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
The Grammys in the bag?
In the bag.
So the context there is that James Corden was auditioning people to read the spoken language version of Fire and Fury, and right before Hillary Clinton, you had Cardi B and Khaled, who were amazing and had people buzzing, but this moment you heard the crowd.
The crowd went crazy. It was the biggest cheer of the evening. And, look, America has a problem with artists a lot of times because they say they go so far to the left. And this was a moment that leaned very, very far left. But the roar in the building was unbelievable. And there were several moments where politics took the spotlight and took over. I mean, where after Logic performed and he was standing there and delivering his words, and he dropped a quote from the president president that I won't repeat that brought a roar inside the arena. And I will say this, James Corden's best joke of the night, in my opinion, was when he came out and he joked like he was beginning to introduce Barack Obama. The place almost exploded.
Yeah, I think everybody at home was watching and saying, wait, Barack Obama is there. But I got to say
this. That's one heck of a collabo.
Yeah. Yes. Nikki Haley, ambassador to the United Nations, tweeted about this, and she, was not very happy. And a lot of people on the right, as you point out, Kevin, this was a moment that some in this country perhaps thought was a mixing of politics and music. But the reminder is that rock and roll, pop music in general in this country has always had this mix of politics. From Elvis singing about In the Ghetto to U2 to the Beatles, John Lennon. Everybody has sung about politics. That's what kind of rock music is about.
Sure. Well, rock music, rap music, every kind of music has always pushed the conversation forward. Right. And if you look at Kendrick Lamar's performance, where it ended with those men in red being shot and falling down, it's just commentary on what is going on in our world. And by the way, just for a second, I have to say Kendrick Lamar has to be the go-to Grammy performer and the voice of our time. If you go back to his performance in 2014, when he performed with Imagine Dragons, still to this day. It was incredible. And then remember, he came back in 2016 and did that incredible performance where he was in shackles, and then he went back and took it back to Africa. And so there were, his performances are moments in time that talk about what's going on in the world. And that's why I thought that there was lots of politics, but that's what music is about. So if you don't like
music,
politics,
rock music, pop music, the blues, everything.
So speaking of that, we should probably talk a little about music instead of politics, right? So Kendrick Lamar, Bruno Mars, both did very well, 5 awards each, I think. Who do you think was snubbed?
Well, Bruno was the big winner because he took home all the awards in the big category. But you have to say that right off the bat, it's Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Most nominations.
He sat front and center. He had 8 nominations. He was 0 for 8. But I will say this about Jay-Z. I think this weekend was a game changer for him because he was honored at the Clive Davis party, which is the big industry party. And then he went on Van Jones's show. And while he was on Van Jones's show, he changed the discourse from where America, and I'm not saying people who enjoy him are his fans, but America will no longer see him as just a rapper or Beyonce's husband, but they see him as a leader who can deliver in certain situations. So I thought it was amazing what he said and that he engaged the president. So the Grammys, sure, he didn't get a Grammy. He has plenty of Grammys at home, and he has the biggest trophy of them all, Beyonce, sitting next to him.
And little Ivy, did you see her stealing the show? The 2 kids, Ivy and Assad.
Blue Ivy. And they were great. But, I think also Jay-Z is helping to turn rap music back towards something that is looking at yourself and being introspective and getting away from this bling, screaming, cars, women, houses, things, and saying, let's talk about what's really going on. And that's why 4 for 4 was an incredible album. It was important, so he won anyway.
Right. Very true. That's the origins of hip hop. So let's go back to the roots, right?
Despacito.
Oh
yeah.
I know.
Because I don't think
popular.
You gotta be. Maybe. You would have to have been living under a rock. I thought maybe it came out 2 years ago. I couldn't believe that it was eligible for this year's Grammy because it seems like it's been everywhere forever.
No one in the world has not. Everybody's heard this song.
Yeah.
And so it is. It would have been a great moment, not only for the song and one of the most popular songs in the world, but for Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have heard the speeches, especially from Luis Fonsi, about Puerto Rico and what's going on. By the way, go and look up the words of that song. That'll change your perspective, but really? Despacito's a great song.
What?
No,
one heck of a tease.
You and I both spoke to him on the red carpet, and one of the things he said is exactly that. People shouldn't forget Puerto Rico. And what he really loved about the reaction to this song is that when I told him that my 7-year-old nephew, who doesn't know the song lyrics to any other song, knows all the words to Despacito, and doesn't speak Spanish.
Right.
But that's the point. And so I wish that there had been a moment for Despacito and for Puerto Rico. But don't worry, next year when everybody goes down there, when Lin-Manuel Miranda opens up Hamilton in Puerto Rico, the eyes of the world will turn back. We have to help those people and be cognizant of what's going on there.
Kevin Frazier, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you.
I love being here with y'all.
Police were called to this third-floor apartment right here at 2767 Reservoir Avenue for an emotionally disturbed man. And when they arrived here, 48-year-old Dwayne Pritchett was locked inside his room. Pritchett's dad telling police that his son refused to come out. Pritchett then suddenly opened his door, and that's when police noticed a handgun magazine on the floor. They handcuffed Pritchett, who then, according to police, tried to grab one of the officer's guns from his holster. Once the altercation was under control, Pritchett lost consciousness. EMS tried to revive him, but he was pronounced dead at the hospital. One neighbor told us here he saw the commotion.
You know, police officer job is not easy. So you have to be really trained for this kind of situation.
And it's not clear if Pritchett may have had an underlying health condition. The medical examiner will now determine the exact cause of death.
With this tweet, billionaire inventor Elon Musk sent the Mid-Atlantic into a frenzy, stating he's just received verbal government approval to build an underground loop connecting the Big Apple and nation's capital.
Connecting the entire nation within 5 hours of each other. Cities become metro stops.
The Hyperloop team has been generating buzz of this sci-fi type transportation for months, showing these videos and renderings. The pods, similar to train cars, would speed through underground tubes at speeds of more than 700 miles per hour, using electromagnetic levitation and motors. It's sleek, fast, and certainly modern, but could it really happen?
I mean, is this a reality or is this kind of pie in the sky? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, the airplane was pie in the sky, and the car was a pie in the sky, and virtually every mode of transportation we enjoy today was at one point kind of a pie in the sky idea.
The Hyperloop underwent its first public test last summer with a successful run at its 500-meter test track in the Nevada desert. But some don't yet believe the hype.
It depends on how much money it is, and is it going to benefit? Is it going to bring in jobs? Is it going to pollute the environment? Like, what are like the pros and cons other than the time?
Sounds too good to be true.
But Tom Gensinger goes to school in Baltimore and admits this train would be a game changer.
If I could get down to school, like coming back from breaks and stuff like that, in less than half an hour, that would be great.
At DC's Union Station, we caught up with Amtrak rider Reagan Wilkinson. He's only 16, but hopes the Hyperloop will be ready by his 30th birthday.
I think give it 10 years, 10, 15 years.
Musk didn't specify when construction will begin or even which agency gave its approval, and all White House officials will say is they're committed to transformative infrastructure. Jumio Labanji, News 4 New York.
One company, double the caffeine, Keurig Green Mountain and Dr. Pepper Snapple are combining to create a beverage giant called Keurig Dr. Pepper. With many brands under one roof, including 7-Up, A&W, and Donut House, the combined revenue from the deal will be worth an estimated $11 billion a year. Dr. Pepper Snapple shareholders will be given cash dividend and will own 13% of the new company. Moving right along, a fitness company is being blamed for the revealing of the location of secret U.S. military bases. Strava released an interactive map of fitness activity across the world in 2017 and unintentionally exposed U.S. military bases in Turkey, Syria, and Yemen. Strava's data is collected from fitness tracking devices like Fitbits and even smartphones. U.S. Central Command is revising its privacy policies in response to the incident. And Elon Musk is coming at you, guns blazing, literally. The Boring Company unveiled its new, not-so-boring flamethrower, and 7,000 have already been sold. They cost $500 a piece. The company's website says the flamethrowers are guaranteed to liven up any party. But if you want to be extra cautious, the Boring Company also sells a fire extinguisher. And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Brad Smith from Cheddar headquarters in New York.
Good morning, everybody. I'm News 12 meteorologist Mike Rizzo with your traffic and weather forecast update. Currently across the area, we're dealing with a lot of clouds after this morning's light snow event. Left little to no accumulation across the city, and we're just dealing with mainly a dusting. Unmeasurable amounts of snow fell across all 5 boroughs, with the exception of areas in far extreme eastern Queens, where areas to the east of us saw a little bit more than just a dusting. Definitely a coating out there. Radar picture right now shows everything wrapping up with a gray sky overhead, maybe a break of sun this afternoon, at least to the early part of the afternoon, maybe the late morning, or you can see the sun through those clouds that will be overcast for the majority of the day today. For the next 12 hours, we're going to see high temperatures reach 36 to 37 degrees, a northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and it stays cold through the afternoon. And we will end up with a brief flurry this afternoon as an Alberta Clipper system gets absorbed by a coastal storm that is moving offshore. That Clipper system may send in a flurry around 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. Tonight, clouds clear, turns dry and cold, and the supermoon comes out tonight. Unfortunately, we won't see the eclipse, which takes place overnight too, because the moon sets as the sun rises, and unfortunately, that's around the same time that the eclipse occurs. The temperatures across the northeast right now coming in rather cold, and we will be cold tonight and tomorrow too. Clouds and radar shows that Clipper system weakening as it's getting absorbed by that coastal storm pushed offshore there. And what we're going to see is maybe a light flurry this afternoon between 2 or 3 o'clock. After that, clearing out for Wednesday, where Wednesday is going to be a nice day, mostly sunny. A few clouds build in late Wednesday night as the next storm system approaches from the north and northwest, sending in some rain showers Thursday evening into Friday morning, where it turns into snow. 1 to 2 inches of snow could be expected Thursday overnight into Friday morning, so it can be a bit messy to end the work week this week. Saturday will be mostly sunny, and then more wet weather to finish off next weekend.